to be a stay-at-home mother for our newborn, my husband exploded.
I ain't gonna be married to no trad wife.
I'm afraid of no ghosts. Posting from a throwaway just in case my husband or any of my family and friends reads this. I'm going to change a few details because I'm paranoid, but the story is the same. I am a saleswoman and I do very well for myself.
Women
By the
in
way,
sales.
this comes from Boxfish Fan, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. My husband and I have been married for 2 years now and together for 5. This is my first marriage and my husband's second. He has an 8-year-old daughter from his previous relationship and has always had full custody of her. Our dating life was tricky with him being a full-time single dad and having to work long hours, but we make it work. I met his daughter when she was 4 after we had been dating for a year. I liked her very much and have always done my best to be the best stepmommy ever. She calls me mom, and I have done all the mom things for her. I've helped her get dressed and ready for school, done her hair, cooked her meals, helped with homework and soccer practice, taken her for ice cream dates, tucked her into bed, read her stories, etc.
Dang.
So you're putting the mom work, man.
That is some mom work.
I'm not perfect and I've made mistakes, but overall, we've been a very happy family. When my husband and I got engaged, he asked if I would like to be a stay-at-home mom for Lizzie and any future children we had. At the time, I politely declined. I was doing well in my career, loved going to work, and the thought of being home all day with a kid and doing nothing but housework and typical stay-at-home mom things didn't really tickle my fancy. My then fiance was gracious, and we both assumed that was how it would be for any future children we had. Fast forward to now, and I am now 6 months pregnant with our son. I am on cloud 9. I was, or am, always in a permanent state of bliss, and something in me changed. I started thinking about being a stay-at-home mom, and suddenly it didn't seem so bad. I'm in love with my son and want to spend as much time with him as I can. I know it's not all roses and champagne. There's actually a lot of poop, drool, screaming, and exhaustion involved. But I really can't stand the thought of having 2 weeks of maternity leave and then handing my son to a stranger in daycare. I've been thinking about this for months because I wanted to make sure this was something I really wanted and not wishful thinking. I weighed the pros and cons and spoke to my supervisor. I'm at the point in my career where I could work from home full time and stay with my son and pick my stepdaughter up from school. I certainly wouldn't mind watching her and doing more things with her too. The more I think about it, the more I want to try this. So pausing really quick before we get into more of it, OP doesn't seem like she's even saying that she wants to quit her job. She just wants to work from home. So, like, I don't know what the issue here would be.
I don't either. Maybe something's not working out. Maybe communication isn't happening.
Maybe.
There's a resentment in the air.
Is the husband getting jealous that OP's going to be spending more time with their kid? You
Maybe?
think?
I don't know, but he asked her to do this originally.
I don't know. It's very odd, yeah.
Oh, Ming Ming says husband's jealous because she doesn't want to be stay-at-home mom for the stepdaughter, but wants to be a stay-at-home mom now as she's pregnant. That is a good theory.
That makes sense.
So after I put little Izzy to bed tonight, I asked my husband if we could talk and excitedly broached my idea. I was very unprepared for his reaction. My husband is furious. He yelled that we had agreed I wouldn't be a stay-at-home mom before we got married, and it was BS. I was changing my mind now. Ming Ming, you were right on the dot. He said I was a rotten stepmother, and I clearly loved our son more than Lizzie, and it was disgusting, the obvious favoritism I was showing him.
Ooh.
Jeez Louise.
Jeez Louise, man.
He also said, yeah.
Low key, dude, you gotta see it from her perspective. She hasn't really been a mom before. Now she is now an actual,
Yeah.
she's going through that swing of things. So you gotta see it from her side. You're married. Why are we against each other?
Yeah.
This should be a problem you guys are both against. You can say your problems, but where does this come from?
It's like a non-problem because also she would be taking care of your daughter as well. So what's the issue here?
It just takes people time to realize what they like, and people change. Value changes.
And she's allowed to change her mind.
Goodness.
Again, the only thing that she's changing is that she's working from home now, or she would want to work from home. He also said I shouldn't be allowed to stay at home with our son if his daughter didn't get to experience it with me. For the record, Lizzie is very excited about her little brother and can't wait for him to be born. She's never expressed any kind of anxiety, sadness, or jealousy towards him or me. I was shocked and stunned. My husband is on the couch, his choice, and I'm here crying in our room. I'm so very hurt by what my husband said. I know I'm not perfect, but I really have done the best for Lizzie that I could. I never thought I'd change my mind about being a stay-at-home mom when I got pregnant, but now I really, truly want to do this. And I wouldn't have quit my job either, which is a double bonus. Or I wouldn't have to quit my job either, which is a double bonus. I am very hurt by what my husband said, and frankly a little angry at his accusation. I do not love the baby more than Lizzie. I do love Lizzie, and while I admit I feel a deeper connection to this baby, I feel that is due to the fact that I'm going through the experience of pregnancy, and it's really hitting home for me. This baby is half me. But that doesn't mean I love Lizzie any less. It's just different.
Yeah.
Is that really so wrong? Am I really a bad stepmom? I didn't plan on changing my mind, and again, I still plan to keep my job, and I don't mind taking extra care of Lizzie in addition to the baby. In fact, I think it might be a chance for us to grow closer and bond over the baby.
Real quick,
Yes.
if you are a stepmom right now, can you give us some frameworks or some lenses to look through on the situation to kind of gather the differences of becoming an actual, like, being a mom with your own child versus being a mom of a stepkid, and like what to look through here? I would like to see that insight. Josephine says, plus,
yeah.
she hasn't been able to work from home back then, but is now.
Exactly.
It was a
This
possibility.
was a new thing. She would have had to quit her job and become like a
Yep.
full-time
Mhm.
mom, which is fine, but like is not something that she wanted to do.
Dude, I can't wait till I can be a work-at-home streamer dad with my kids.
Me
You're
too.
you're
Honestly,
wild, man.
I'm actually really excited for that.
Dude, low-key, we could just keep doing this. Our kids will be doing whatever.
They'll be coloring on the floor,
Yeah, we're like,
and we don't bring them on camera.
yeah.
And we'll
At
teach
least
him how
my
to
kid won't be
read.
on camera.
We'll just be like,
Come on, stop doing that.
yeah.
And you're like,
Is OP the a-hole?
Nah, they can only read off camera.
They'll wear cool little masks.
Yeah, they'll wear a mask every time they're on camera.
Nah, we can get Keon to babysit him.
Yeah.
Honestly, Keon babysit him. Dude, you'd be a great babysitter.
I'm actually a really good babysitter. I love
called
kids.
it. I knew it.
I love kids.
I don't know what to say to my husband. I tried telling him all the things I've said here, including spending more time and growing closer to Lizzie, but all he did was yell louder and say more awful things about my parenting. I'm pretty crushed and honestly growing more angry by the minute. I feel that I am a good stepmom to Lizzie, and she seems to think so too. The only one who seems to have a problem is my husband, and there is an update, but like huge, yeah, as Miss J. Bird says, huge red flag. What's wrong with the husband not being able to communicate in a mature, calm manner?
Yeah, could you?
Absolutely.
Onion says, see if she was fully rejecting her and not doing what she said. She was, I'd get it, but that's not the case. Okay, and then Brittany, I see you. Lynn says, approach it as, husband, my job is going to let me work from home once we have the baby, and I'm going to keep the baby and stop that our home conversation over. Different
Yeah.
framework, but still,
But
why is he
honestly,
not?
pretty much the same as what she's already been saying, and he's not
Yeah.
even listening to her. The fact is, it's not that he's saying, no, I don't want to do that. That doesn't work out. He's screaming at her,
Showbell
which is
said,
crazy.
yeah, that I don't like that part.
I
Showbell
hate
says, my stepsons were treated as my own children. They introduced me as mom. It took some adjustment, but I love them all more than life. Yeah, it is really weird that he's not able to communicate correctly.
Yeah. I feel like there's something else that's going on here that he's, yeah. Ming Ming says conspiracy. He's cheating, isn't he? Yeah, I feel like I don't know if it's cheating, but I feel like there is something that is bothering him.
Dude, the mom. The
His
mom.
mother-in-law?
Yes.
The mother-in-law.
His mother-in-law's been like,
whispering in his ear.
been worm-tonguing
Yeah.
your dad's ear, or the husband's ear this whole time. And that's why he feels this way towards you, because all this
Yeah.
resentment is built up, and now, boom, he's going to hit you with it like a brick loaded full of trucks.
True. An awkward cosplay chick. How old is his stepdaughter? I think she was 4. I don't know if she's still 4, but she was 4.
Sorry, a truck loaded full
When
of bricks.
OP came.
I'm sorry, but you just saying worm tonguing? Like,
yeah,
I know,
worm-tonguing your dad's ear was
kind of insane. I know you.
Yeah.
I know what we're talking about here, but like making that a verb is
Dude.
crazy work.
Dude, sometimes you got to make nouns verbs.
It's true. Thank you for all the kind and supportive messages on the last post. It was really helpful, as well as some of the possible suggestions as to why my husband suddenly blew up at me. I did get some nasty messages from what sounded like bitter single dads, which only further convinced me my husband was being an absolute irrational clown. To address some of the questions that were asked in the last post, At the time my husband asked me to be a stay-at-home mom, we were not married, nor was I at a place in my career where I could have worked from home. I would have had to quit my job, which I did not want to do, to be a parent to a child that wasn't mine, to a man I wasn't married to, but would have full financial dependence on. So that was a huge no-go for me. But even after we were married, it took a while to still get to a place where I wouldn't have to quit my job to be a stay-at-home parent. To those who were saying I couldn't expect to work full-time from home and take care of an infant in grammar school, girl, you're right. Maybe I worded it wrong or just didn't go into full details in my post, but while I would be working from home and I can do it without having to quit, I would be working part-time instead of full-time. There we go. My supervisor is 100% fine with this. So basically, I would have 2 weeks maternity leave, and then I would be working from home part-time. 2 weeks maternity leave is crazy to me.
Dude, she's got sales to make.
That is crazy.
She's a businesswoman.
She's a busy businesswoman.
Low key, depending on how your payment is structured, you could get 8 months of maternity leave if you work the system.
That's true.
And if she's in sales and she meets with people,
Yeah.
maybe that helps her. She's like, "Oh, I just had my baby," and they're like more inclined to
and they're
buy.
like, oh, we want to spend money on this now.
John, you've been dancing a lot.
I'm going to give you a live demonstration and you're going to see it too.
Show me those hips. Oh, damn. That is a good move. But you know what is also an amazing move?
What is that, Sam?
Becoming an OK Storytime member.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
And it's only $5 a month. So go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Well, let's get back to the story.
While I will take a cut in my pay, my company is great and is letting me keep full benefits despite part-time hours. That's amazing. I know my husband isn't worried about finances because even if I quit, he makes more than enough to comfortably support us. I just love working too much to completely quit, but my son is definitely a priority for me. Lizzie's mom is in the picture, but just barely. She has borderline personality disorder, drinks like a fish, and is just basically an irresponsible party animal. She sees Lizzie maybe 1 week in a month if she isn't too hungover or baked to make an effort. The only nice thing I can say about her is that at least she makes child support payments on time, minuscule as they are. Lizzie doesn't like her very much and has made it clear she prefers me to her mother. I can't say I blame her, poor dear. So I went to bed that night very angry after my crying jag. What? Because I love Lizzie and I've been a great mom to her. The next couple of days were very quiet. I was distant but polite to my husband and still warm and cuddly with Lizzie. I didn't really want anything to do with him. My husband started picking on everything I did for Lizzie around the house and started saying more things like, "Why are you bothering?" and "That's not how this should be done," and "I'll bet that makes you feel just great." Who is this man?
Bro, you
Like,
gotta.
why is your partner being rude?
You gotta view this as a partnership. It's not a competition. You haven't been slighted. You're not been betrayed.
Nope.
We gotta go to therapy ASAP right now.
ASAP. I had had enough. After I put Lizzie to bed, I told my husband I was sick of his nasty attitude and he was setting a toxic environment for his daughter and that if he had something to say, he should say it. He started to yell and scream again, but I put my foot down this time. I said I want to work through whatever problems we have and get this issue resolved because I love you and care about you, but I will not take toxic, abusive behavior. I will not talk to you until you are ready to be respectful and kind. Good on you, OP. Good on you. Setting your boundaries and not allowing him to freaking talk to you like that and to yell at you. He's a baby. He's a literal toddler. My husband lost it even more and screamed, "I'm sleeping on the couch." So I said, "Excuse me?" Or maybe screamed that he wants OP to sleep on the couch. So I said, "Excuse me, I am heavily pregnant with your son and every part of me hurts. I need access to the bathroom when I wake up at night. I will be sleeping in the bed. You can either join me if you can be quiet or you can sleep out here." He seemed kind of taken aback and I just left and went to bed. I guess he slept on the couch. The next day after Lizzie went to bed, I said that I think we need to set up an appointment with a marriage counselor.
LFG?
Good. OP is the only one who is acting like an adult here.
Yeah.
Like literally has done nothing wrong.
I don't know.
Brought up working from home and that's it.
I don't know why. This is a very big reaction.
Huge reaction. That doesn't make sense. Something is afoot. My husband said I'm the only one with a problem, so he won't go. I asked him to please tell me what was bothering him then so we could work through it. In a nutshell, he is pissed I didn't want to quit my job and be a stay-at-home mom for Lizzie, but I do for our son. So therefore, I love our son more, and that makes me a terrible person. This man is making a lot of just assumptions, and he needs to stop.
Absolutely.
I explained, like I had before, I didn't want to quit my job and be dependent on a man I wasn't married to. He got very defensive and said it's clear I never trusted him then, and that makes me a bad wife and mother. I asked, why didn't he quit his job then and be a stay-at-home dad? He blustered a bit, then responded, he makes more. True. And children need a mom during the early years more than a dad. That's what? You're dumb. It feels like he just wants OP to be like a full, like doesn't want her to have a job and wants her to be a full stay-at-home mom, and like wants to have this level of control, and he's just kind of kept it in until now.
Dude, if
now he's yelling at her.
If my wife was in sales, and then she was like, "I'm gonna stay home, take care of the kids, still gonna make money," I'm gonna be like, "Dude, we could use that money
Best of both worlds
for trips. We can use this money for
Yeah.
XYZ. Since I already make enough to provide for everything, we can invest this, dude. We can get a lake house pretty soon in 8 years if we invest this right. Why are we not thinking like that, dude?
Just think, honestly. He also said that since Lizzie never had the experience of a stay-at-home mom, then our son shouldn't have the favoritism of getting it either because it wasn't fair to Lizzie. She will, though.
Dude.
She literally is going to have the experience of a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
She's still a child.
Yep.
I said it was ridiculous to punish me and our son for being unable to travel back in time and to change the uterus Lizzie was conceived in. I also said infants need a lot more care than pre-K kids. That opened a whole other can of worms, with my husband resenting me for not quitting work and being a full-time stay-at-home mom, and that if I'm going to do something, I should do it fully engaged. There it is. He wants you to fully quit your job because he wants a level of control over you that he doesn't have right now.
Seems like a trap.
Yeah, and he's upset that you're trying to make decisions for yourself that are good for you, and he's trying to assert dominance.
Dude, I remember reading a story about this couple that didn't get married. Their boyfriend-girlfriend for a very long time, had 4 kids. Husband one day was like, "You're out. She can do a thing."
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She can do a single thing.
Yeah.
That's
It's
the territory
really
you're getting
hard.
into.
I mean, being a stay-at-home mom is like a great, it's a great thing to do. And it is one path in life for people, or a stay-at-home parent in general. But if you you have to be on the same page with your partner so much because you don't have a job and you were relying on your partner for support. And so you have to make sure that that is a good partner, that you picked. He then went on and on about how I'm breaking our agreement for me to not be a stay-at-home parent and how that makes me unstable. I pointed out I have a right to change my mind.
She's allowed to change her mind.
And I won't give my baby to a stranger to raise while fretting about him all day at the office. I said I was very willing to do more things with Lizzie, like taking her to the zoo and museums with the baby, get involved at PTA at her school, and go to her sporting events so me and her brother can watch her while she practices. I said this is healthy for all the children, and he had a warped view of justice and fairness by depriving our children of a healthy environment because Lizzie's mom was an unfit parent. I said his guilt won't go away by taking opportunities away from our kids, and that I was willing to work out whatever issues there were and to go to a counselor and speak to a child psychologist and other professionals that could give him an unbiased professional opinion. No. He became violently angry again and said I was going back to work 2 weeks after the birth, and that was the end of the discussion. That I had had my chance to be a stay-at-home mom, and since I didn't take it for Lizzie when I could, I wasn't allowed to do it now since he wouldn't let me. And the wouldn't let me is a big old red flag. Big glaring red flag that you need to look at and be like, oh, wow, this man is trying to literally control me. This is not a relationship that is going to work.
Yeah, this is why.
Either you go to marriage counseling or you have to leave this relationship because it's
he
not
seems so
working.
tunnel vision on.
So tunnel vision.
Ugh, it's gross.
Awkward cosplay chick says he sounds like he will only get worse from here.
Yeah.
He will then try to control your spending, who you talk to, hang out with, etc. Frank the Pug says, is this even considered changing her mind? They're having another child. It's changing the situation, which requires a new look and new decisions to be made. Exactly. Now they have 2 children. It's just a different situation. Now, as much as I love my husband and our children, I will not be controlled. I will not be told where I can and can't work. I will not be told if I can or can't work. I am not a dog. I am not a slave. I will not be told to deny my own baby his mother and hand him to a stranger because his sister got a bad start in life. Purposely neglecting your own child opportunities in the name of fairness is insane. That is being a bad parent. The fact that my husband wanted to do this to me and my son flipped a switch in me. I stood up calmly and told my husband I was leaving, that he had crossed the line and I needed space from him and that I would not subject any child of mine to this kind of abusive, controlling environment. I said when things calm down, we can go to marriage counseling because he clearly has deep-seated issues that need to be worked out. He became hysterical and said I can't leave, that we have a family, that I can't take his son, etc., etc. I was just done by that point. I said that for once, he will take Lizzie to school and I will leave during that time. I went to our room and started packing. He started throwing my clothes out of the suitcase and screaming at me. I was honestly pretty terrified. I had never seen my husband like this. I told him if he tries to prevent me from going or touches me in any way, I would be calling the police. I also said I was calling my mother to come get me. Maybe it was an overreaction, but I was scared senseless, and I just wanted to get myself and my son away from it. He started crying really hard, just sobbing, and walked away. I called my mother and said she needed to come and get me immediately and that I didn't feel safe, and I needed to stay with her for a bit. Really quick pausing.
Wow.
I'm so scared for Lizzie because, presumably she's still in this house.
Yeah.
Hearing all of this screaming, and it seems like every time she goes to bed or like she's just in the other room, he just starts screaming, which she can obviously hear. So it's like, ugh.
Has there been it doesn't sound like there's been a history of this. It's just all of a sudden happened now.
That is my question. I wonder, OP hasn't really said whether or not this has been his style of kind of arguments or arguing.
Mm-hmm.
So I am wondering if this is just out of the blue.
I remember watching in a podcast, I've been watching this one guy recently. He had a divorce attorney come on, and one of the big questions before people get married that he was like, you should figure out is how do you like to fight? And like whenever you have a disagreement, do you need space to figure out your thoughts before you come back? Do you want to talk it out right now? Do we go to sleep mad? Do we not go to sleep mad? What does that look like? That may help here. I just can't get a vibe on this guy. This guy just is all over the place.
He's having a breakdown. Something's got to be going on.
Brain
this
tumor,
man
maybe.
Is having a breakdown. Yeah.
I don't know if that's even it. I don't know.
Duchess Cassandra says she did say she'd never seen her husband act this way.
Okay.
And Persegriba says, if you're scared, it's over. Your partner should never make you feel unsafe. Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed.
I quickly packed what I needed, and my mom came and got me. I've been with her for about 5 days now, and I feel just numb. I can't believe how fast this all happened and how my family and marriage got turned upside down in just a few days. I wish I had never brought up being a stay-at-home parent. If I had, this never would have happened. OP, you need to know, if this specific scenario hadn't happened, it would have been something else.
Yeah.
This man, if this is how he's reacting to a question, to you guys trying to figure out how you're going to parent your kids, and this is how he's reacting, he would have found something else to blow up over.
Oh, yeah.
My husband and I were no contact for a couple days, and then he started texting and calling on day 3, saying Lizzie's been crying for me and misses me. I've ascertained that Lizzie is safe. I know my husband would never mistreat her, but I spoke to her yesterday anyways and made sure she's being fed, going to school, and doing her homework. She was crying and asking me when I'd come back, and I didn't know what to say to that, so I said I didn't know, but that I love her very much. I told my husband to stop using Lizzie as a pawn to manipulate me into coming back because it won't work. He actually said I'm proving I'm a terrible step-parent by not coming back and being there for her. This man has not learned anything in the 5 days. I said that if I'm so terrible, he shouldn't want me back then and do not speak to me again until he is ready to go to counseling and leave Lizzie out of our problems. I said if Lizzie is mentioned in any text or email, I will delete it without reading the rest of it. I said any phone call where he tries to bring her up outside of the context of her being safe and taken care of, I will immediately hang up. I said I do not want to talk to him right now and he should figure out what he wants because I am ready to file for divorce if he doesn't pull it together soon.
I thought they were married.
They are.
I thought she said she wasn't married.
No, she's married. She said, earlier she said that he had originally asked her to become a stay-at-home parent and quit her job when they first started dating.
Got it.
Or at least, maybe not first started dating, but like had gotten serious, but weren't married. And she was saying that she didn't want to do that because she didn't have the security of being married to him.
Got it. Sorry, I just
But now
remember
they are
when I
married.
mentioned about the boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
I thought they weren't. The reason I brought that up is because I thought they weren't married.
Oh no, they're married.
Well, I'm glad there's
But
some.
I mean, it was relevant to her first point. So.
Yeah. Okay.
He's been silent since, except for one text I got today saying he wants me back and misses me. This man, stop. Stop.
Dude,
You're
stop
exhausting.
these mind games.
I really don't know where to go from here. I'm still trying to process all of it, although writing it down here helps. I just can't believe my husband did all of this, and I'm wondering if he just had a psychotic break. That's what it sounds like. I'm wondering what red flags I've missed all this time and why I was stupid enough to marry and have a family with this guy, and how could I have been so blind? I want to divorce him, but I'm not ready to head for the divorce court yet. I want some space and time to process it all and see if my husband shows signs of wanting to go to counseling or trying to repair the damage done. If this was just a one-time thing, or if this is who he really is, I feel terrible for Lizzie, but I can't put myself or my son in jeopardy by moving back out of guilt. I'm being selfish right now and saying that my son and I are priorities right now. I have to do what's best for my son, and there is a second update.
You go, girl. You're doing it.
You were in an unsafe situation where your husband was screaming and yelling at you.
Yeah.
And just not listening at all, and it still seems like he is not capable of listening to you or understanding what needs to be done. And so right now it's the best, the best thing for you is to stay with your mom, stay with a safe person, with your child, until you're able to have an actual conversation with him. And maybe that is never.
Goodness gracious, dude, go get your brain scanned. What?
Yeah.
What? I don't really have anything else to say.
Nor do
just
I.
more worried about her after the divorce. Could she go back to full time with her sales job and be okay? Get child support, all those kind of things.
I think I'm sure like it seems like her work would be fine with her going back to full time. Of course, it would be tricky because she's having to take care of the kid and stuff. But yeah, we'll see. But there is a second update. Truthfully. Oh, whoa. Oh. Sarah Monfra says, if it's a medical concern, he definitely needs help, but I've dealt with too many narcissists and they can hide their true selves for a very long time. Could go either way, but medical testing couldn't hurt. Oh, man. But let's get into this update. Hi, everyone. I know it's been a long time, but I just wanted to give a brief update while I still have time. I put small whales to shame with my current size, and my baby is ready to burst out of me in just a few weeks, although he is technically could come any day now. So after my last post, my husband's brother and best friend went over there to figure out what the heck was going on.
Okay. All right. More answers.
Finally. My boss was gracious and let me start maternity leave early, saying to take my time and figure out what I'm going to do. And my job is ready for me when I come back. So they are taking really good care of me. I also got a personal therapist because obvious reasons are obvious. I was a numb shell for a while, and one day I just broke and started crying and crying and crying and could not stop for the life of me. I don't think I've cried that hard ever in my life. My therapist has been a great part of my support system and guiding me through my issues and supporting my decisions. So, as I said, my husband's brother and friend went over there to talk to him, and they told me that he told them he was pissed off I was breaking our previous agreement and that he couldn't help but feel I didn't love Lizzie or that I loved our son more, and that maybe he made a mistake marrying me because now I was picking sides and being unstable, and that I had left when he told me to treat the children fairly because he didn't think our son should get a stay-at-home mom because Lizzie didn't.
Whoa, my dude. That is some reaching here.
Wow.
Reaching
He
here.
is just totally manipulating or just like lying about the situation.
I know OP is going to find more red flags of what happened in this relationship.
This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, yeah.
And they completely ripped into him. His best friend Craig asked him what the F was he on to come to such a ridiculous conclusion. He pointed out all I had ever done for Lizzie, and that me being a part-time working stay-at-home mom would benefit her too because I would be able to do more things with her and spend more time with her. And also that he was a moron and I was smart and clearly not after his money because I could have been a stay-at-home mom just for her and let him be the sole financial provider, but I didn't. His brother Daniel was even more blunt. Daniel called my husband an a-hole and douchebag and said point blank, he didn't deserve me. He said my husband was being a controlling knucklehead and punishing me for his witch of an ex-wife he shouldn't have married and reproduced with in the first place. At least, he's got some people in his life telling him things straight.
That's nice. That's nice.
Apparently, there is a lot of family anger on my husband's side for him marrying and having a kid with his ex-wife, and I won't go into it. Anyway, Daniel said I was the best thing to ever happen to him, my husband, and Lizzie, and he was ruining it with his own two hands, and he better man the F up and get over his ex and start treating me better and appreciating me more. And that he was being a crap parent to Lizzie and our son by thinking that forcing me to return to work was okay because that made it fair. And that I was a far better mother to Lizzie than his ex ever was, and I did a dang good job of showing my love for her. I wrote that my husband started texting me in my last post, and then he started blowing up my phone, begging me to come back, that he couldn't function, etc. He also broke my rule and said Lizzie wasn't doing well without me, which really angered me and broke my heart because I loved that little girl, but it felt so manipulative. Yeah. He's using Lizzie.
her.
He's using Lizzie to get you to do what he wants.
She misses you. She wants you to come back.
Yeah, I feel like I look more pale now. Am I crazy? I basically told my husband if he continues to use Lizzie as a reason I should come back, I would be filing for divorce because I would not be with someone who uses a child as a manipulative tool, and that I didn't want to be a replacement mom for Lizzie. I wanted to be his wife and have a family with him that included Lizzie. I said get a therapist and into couples counseling with me, or he would be getting divorce papers because I will not have my son in a toxic, controlling environment. Good on you. My husband agreed to both, saying he couldn't live without me and he knew he needed help. I still don't trust this man.
Friends, you guys gotta band together and track this man to therapy or something. I know you're supposed to do that, but
He's gotta go.
I want this to work out in the aspect that
They have a kid. They're having a kid together.
they're having a kid together. OP's solid. Lizzie has a good mom influence in her life. I just want this man to fix whatever's going on in his head so that he can make this happen.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I do think it could still work out, but this behavior, it's got to get out. It has got to go. You got to get to the root of it as fast as you possibly can, my dude, and get rid of it. You gotta weed eat that thing.
Please.
Our couples therapist was great. She touched on all the issues I wrote about and tried to get my husband to see he was being unfair and controlling. While it was understandable he would have a lot of fear and pain from his previous marriage, it was cruel to take out his issues on me because I had never wronged him and was not his ex-wife. So why was he making me pay for what she did to him? It basically boiled down to my husband being afraid of me becoming like his ex, and that I would favor our son and hurt his daughter or love her or not love her anymore. The therapist touched on the issue of his kids versus our kids. She said my husband needed to keep in mind that it is natural to feel more connected and attached to biological children as opposed to stepchildren. She told my husband that while both Lizzie and our son were his children, this was not the case for me, and not only was that natural and expected, it was okay. She asked, had I not been loving and kind with Lizzie? Had I not taken care of her? Did I go out of my way and sacrifice her for her as would any other parent do? My husband replied hesitantly but positively to all the questions. So she said, then there was nothing wrong with my feelings or changing my mind. As long as I continued to treat Lizzie with love, respect, and kindness, that there wasn't a problem. She also pointed out that while he might be affronted because Lizzie is also his biological child, it was not fair of him to expect I feel the same love and connection to her as he did. That it was in fact impossible because I had not carried her, gave birth to her, nursed her, and didn't come into my life until she was already a little girl. She said there are many kinds of love, and me having this special bond with the baby and wanting to stay home and nest was not only natural, it didn't mean I had lost any maternal love for Lizzie, that it wasn't less or wrong or unfair, just different. And that one of the biggest mistakes biological parents make with the step-parent is guilting or bullying them about their feelings towards stepchildren versus biological children and insisting it has to be the exact same way. Good on this therapist.
This
Making
therapist,
good points.
Gets it.
Yeah.
and it's not one of the red pill. Imagine they went to a red pill therapist.
Yeah, they're like, dude, maybe you should just quit your job and be a stay-at-home mom. Did you
What's
not think of
going on
that?
here? Yeah, I don't like that.
And now I'm real tan. She said, while that is also a natural and protective instinct, that the biological parent actually ends up being the one causing friction and tension, making both step-parent and child feel inferior. And if care isn't taken, the stepchild can end up being the favored one because the biological parent tries to make up for a favoritism they believe exists. This was starting to be my feelings. She wrapped up by saying parents even tend to have favorites among biological children, but that the key was to not act on that or make it obvious. And that was what I was doing, and that it sounds like I had done a great job so far, and that we were even ahead of the game because Lizzie was very excited about the pregnancy and had a very positive and close relationship with me. My husband tries to argue, saying, me staying home with our son, but not her, was blatant favoritism. The therapist countered with many of the points made in the last post. That I was not in a place in my career at the time to work from home. I would have had to quit my job at the time in order to do so. I was not in a place in our relationship to be a stay-at-home mom. I was not yet married and didn't feel comfortable giving up all my financial security without being married. That Lizzie was already ready to be in preschool. She wasn't an infant, and that most people wouldn't want to give up a career they love to stay home full-time to a child that didn't need full-time care, and that they had no biological connection to. Lizzie wouldn't know the difference because she was old enough to know I wasn't her mother and didn't come into the picture until she was past the baby toddler stage, and that even small children can understand babies need more care than preschoolers, especially if it's explained calmly to them. In short, she said the fact that I was more than happy to spend more time with Lizzie, wanted her to be in the baby's life, wasn't being territorial or aggressive about the pregnancy, and was still taking an active role in Lizzie's life was a very good sign, and that we were in fact doing much better than many step families in our position, except for the fact that your husband freaking sucks. Mika says he's so narcissistic he won't even listen to a therapist. OP should just leave. It's not going well. I mean, the fact that he's still like, well, she's favoritism, and the therapist is like, no.
Here's some facts,
Buddy.
No.
Why are we not? Why are we against the wife? This breaks my heart.
Me too. Like, you're ruining what seemed like a really great relationship.
Yeah.
And family. That's on you, man.
Down the toilet.
I'm sorry to say my husband tried, but just couldn't accept it. We tried going on family outings more and therapy, but he backed out, saying he felt he was being ganged up on and that no one was on his side. He simply couldn't see why I should stay home to work with the baby. I asked point blank if he even wanted the baby and seemed shocked and said of course he did. He just wanted to make sure his daughter got what was owed to her. In the end, he refused to compromise. And frankly, I saw it as being blatantly unfair and cruel to our son to insist he had to be put in daycare or given to a nanny or au pair. All in the name of fairness, despite both his therapist and ours explaining fairness does not always mean equality. It's like he didn't want to see how me being a stay-at-home mom would also greatly benefit his daughter. I think my husband expected me to cave. All it did was make me lose love and affection for him, especially when he quit therapy. Yeah, he's just ruining his relationship. Yeah. He's not going to get his way. He's just going to lose his partner.
He's going to be in a...
He's just going to be single.
Crabs in bucket, dude.
I warned him if he did or tried to insist on having his way, I would be filing for, at the very least, legal separation. I think he thought I was bluffing. Because when nothing changed, I went straight to the attorney's office. He was completely shocked when I had him served. I have arranged a semi-formal custody arrangement. I will keep the working from home arrangement while staying with my parents. My husband is not allowed to be in the birthing room when I go into labor. He has to stay in the waiting room. He can see and hold our son, but he will have to do it while I'm there with someone else there. I insisted on this because I'm frankly very afraid now of my husband and do not trust him at all. My husband is consumed with shock and grief. His family is furious with him and completely supports me, although of course they are very upset by the whole thing. I have told all of his family they are more than welcome to come to the birth and hold the baby. In fact, I want them there so they can supervise my husband with the baby so he doesn't do something horrible. I mean, just the fact that you're even thinking that this relationship, could not work.
Yeah.
Like if you are scared that your husband will do something to the baby, you got to get out of there.
Their own son.
Mm-hmm. Ming Ming says he has selective hearing, meaning he only hears himself. And Miss Jaybird says, since my daughter didn't get it, my son shouldn't, is not a flex.
It's a big whiny baby.
Yeah, you're just a baby. It's this.
I didn't know there were 3 kids in this story.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's that kind of logic doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely.
It's not logical. My husband texts and calls and emails me constantly. He says he can't believe I'm doing this. Why can't I listen to him and understand him? Please come back and be a family again, etc. I have told him he needs to get back into therapy and that I need to be able to trust him with our son, and that trust will only come when I see a change in his attitude regarding our son and my stepdaughter. And that I need to feel like a wife to him and not just a mom to Lizzie. I love Lizzie, I truly do. I cry every day over losing her, but I didn't marry my husband to be her mom. Although I knew that was part of the package deal, I did it because I love my husband and wanted a life with him. Lizzie calls me often and I talk to her. I've seen her a few times since this fiasco. Her father is not allowed to talk about her to me because I feel he's being manipulative. But I don't want to cut Lizzie out cold turkey either. I love that girl, I truly do, and I've cried so many tears over her going through this. I tell Lizzie I love her very much, that none of this is her fault, and that I'm doing the best I can to make things work. I tell her I still want to be in her life and her brother's life, and that she's the best bonus daughter and sister in the world. I've heard from my husband's family Lizzie is not taking our separation well, and it has even screamed at her dad for making both my mommies leave.
Oh, no.
Ooh. Ooh, this man.
Ow.
Lizzie.
That hurt. I've been afraid Lizzie would hate me for this, but in fact, just the opposite has happened. Her grades are failing, she's depressed, and she cries all the time and has become very disrespectful to her dad. Why does she have grades? Isn't she in preschool?
Do they gotta like test these kids all the time? They gotta make sure they're on track. You know, they got the like academic things.
Sure.
You don't remember that?
I was in preschool. I don't remember
Dude,
anything.
I remember in first grade. Oh, I'm sorry. This is gonna take a second, but it's gonna pay off. I remember going into first grade and having to read this like list of words, and the first 2 pages I got right. The third page didn't get as many rights, and then the 4th page I got some right, and then the 10th page was like really hard words. Didn't get many of those right. That woman was testing if I was gonna pass first grade or not, and I knew what she was doing, and I had to get them right. And it was kind of crazy. Like I felt the pressure.
Yeah.
Like about halfway through, I was like, "Wait a minute." Because I remember earlier, this kid went to that room, came out, and he had his hands on his head, like, "I didn't make it.
Oh my
It
God.
didn't do good."
That's
And I was like,
traumatizing.
"What? What do you mean you didn't make it?"
Oh,
Guess who wasn't in the 2nd grade next year? That kid.
but you were.
But I was.
There you go.
I was.
And people are saying she's 8 now, so that's my bad.
Oh yeah,
She's
3rd grade, dude.
Yeah.
That's when I
She's
got my
family.
first C, and I cried.
Same.
Yeah.
In my math class, because I was really bad at math until like 5th grade, and then I got really
still
good at
pretty
math.
bad at math.
Okay, well, mental math. Once we started doing algebra, I killed it. Once I got a calculator, I was
That was the problem.
yeah. I can't do mental math. I have begged my husband to please get that girl counseling, and he has, which has been helping her. The guilt I feel is overwhelming and crushing. I feel like I've single-handedly destroyed my family, but I know I'm making the right decision by sticking to what I think is right and insisting I be treated with love and respect, and that my husband do the same for both of the kids. I can't fix him, and if he's unwilling to get help for his issues, I have no future with him. I am not willing to go for divorce yet, hence the long separation. My husband insists he wants this to work. I said I need to see changes in his life, starting with him getting back into therapy. By the way, you should get back into listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. And there is a teensy bit left. But OP, you didn't ruin the marriage at all. You literally did 0 to ruin the marriage. Your husband threw a hissy fit and destroyed his whole life. And literally your therapist, his entire family think so too.
And you know what sucks is while he was giving that hissy fit, what was OP doing? Here's a list of options to make this work out.
Yeah. And he was like, no.
Pull it together, dude. Dude, if I was your best friend, I would strangle you. I'd be like, what
Wake
is
up.
wrong with you?
Wake up!
Do this for Lizzie.
Yeah.
That's what I would do, Keon. If you pulled this crap and you had a beautiful child and you were doing this to your lovely wife, I'd be like, Keon, get it together. Get it together. Get it together.
Together, man.
I would.
Yeah.
I honestly, I would never, but yeah, if I were doing that, I would give you
I
consent
would
to do
hope
that.
that my friends, snap me out of this.
Oh,
if
yeah,
this was
dude.
behavior.
Oh, yeah. I hope.
But there is a little bit left to the story. I want to save my marriage, but I've done all I can. And if my husband won't do his part, there's nothing I can do except move on. Exactly. You've literally done everything you can possibly do to try and make this relationship work. I've told my husband if he has not gotten therapy by the time our son is a month old, I will be filing for divorce. And that if he abuses me, hurts me, or even thinks of dating other people again, I will be filing for divorce.
Ooh.
All in all,
Divorce on me definitely is thinking about it.
he's thinking about it. Thought crime. All in all, a sad update, but one that is a type of catharsis for me, so I thought I would share. Thank you to everyone who has given me such great advice and support before. You're all wonderful. Sorry this was so long and couldn't be better news. And that is the end of that story.
Oh my gosh, dude. Figure it out.
Literally.
Speaking of thought crime, I had a dream crime where recently someone has wronged one of my closest friends in a really messed up way, and I had a dream.
Tell me about it.
I can't really explain it, but I had a dream that this person entered my house and I yelled at them to leave.
I love that.
That's your dream?
Yeah, that was my dream.
You
I was
just
like,
dreamed about that, like,
get out! And everyone else was like, Riley's just joking around, and I was like, no, get out! And I was like so mad and like, ugh. And then I went to the shed and Sophia was reading, and I left the story because I think Dakota said something, so I just left. And then
Your
I
dream
come
was
back,
Dakota?
and
Oh my gosh.
Sophia found the video of me sleeping on the couch
Too hot.
and was reading the story and acting like I was asleep so she could keep the show going. And then whenever she saw me, she was like surprised, like she hadn't seen me in 100 years. She's like, "Where have you been? Get back on the stream. We gotta go. We gotta make this happen." Those were my dreams last night.
But if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And
See you tomorrow.